the two-step, then cowboy boogie. Grab a sweetheart and spin out with him. Do the hold down and get into it. Take it to the left now and dip with it. Gon' throw down, take a sip with it. Now lean back, put your hips in it. Let's have some fun. To the left now. To the right. Now take your left hand and put it on your side. Gon' roll your shoulders. Do the slip and slide. This next part's my favorite part, cause it's time to shine. Gonna do the two-step, then cowboy boogie. Grab a sweetheart and spin out with him. Do the hold down and get into it. Take it to the left now and dip with it. Gon' throw down, take a sip with it. Now lean back, put your hips in it. It's simple, you can do it. Slide to the left, slide to the right. Now cool down, have a good time. Slide to the left, slide to the right. Do the butterfly, have a good time. Round, round, round and round you go. It's time to show out right now and take to the floor. Gonna do the two-step.
Welcome to Going for Two at 22 West Studio at Cal State Long Beach. This is your host, Matty Ice. In the building, I have in the studio Ivan.
What's up?
And Enrique.
How we doing, Matt?
Doing good. It's a Friday morning and or afternoon, I guess. And we just got finished last night with the first round of the NFL draft. There has not been a lot to talk about before the draft, and we've been waiting for this moment. And so we got some things to talk about. Some people got drafted, people didn't get drafted, some free agency signings and things of that nature. So we'll talk about that on today's show. Starting off, Tyler Lockett to the Titans. We have a Seattle fan in the building.
Don't want to talk about it.
What do you think? Does this help the Titans?
I think anywhere he goes, he's going to be a good. I mean, it's hard to say because he's been a Seahawk for so long, but he knows the system very well. But of course, the Titans now with their pick as of yesterday, which we'll get into, and all this stuff, it looks like a little bit of a revamp, of a reshape. Looks like the Titans are kind of moving some things around. Tennessee looks I'm not going to say promising, but not bad either. Not bad.
It's just the beginning for the Titans because, like you said, Ivan, there's still a lot more that the Titans need to do to be good again.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is just the beginning for the Titans. They got a rookie QB all ready to go. They got him a weapon to throw the ball to. So yeah, they're gonna have to need to do more stuff. Get some O-line, get some defense.
Mm-hmm.
Which it won't be easy. It'll take a while to rebuild their entire team, but this is a good direction where the Titans are going right now.
I agree.
Sure. Talking about that rookie quarterback, he got drafted number 1 overall, Mr. Cam Ward out of Miami.
Mm-hmm.
And Adam Schefter had reported probably like a day before the NFL draft that the Titans were in contact with Cam Ward to let him know that they were going to draft him number 1. So it happened. They pulled the trigger on that. Thoughts? Expected?
Yeah.
Expected.
Imagine they call him up and they're like, "Hey, so we're gonna draft you," and with the first pick, Travis Hunter.
Shoot. NFL players have dealt with that. Maybe not with the number 1 overall pick,
right.
But where a team said, "Oh, we'll draft you," and then they go a different way.
Yeah.
What do you think Cam Ward brings to the Titans since now it's official?
A brand new start, a brand new QB, a brand new mindset. Not mayonnaise, I'll tell you that much. But yeah, this is a QB that shows that he wants to win. We've seen that at times with Miami, and it makes me question is that what will the Titans now do with Will Levis? They gave up on him quick.
Yeah.
So
he was also a 3rd round pick. So it's not like
was it? I thought it was second round.
Second.
I'm sure it was the second round.
Second round. Okay.
Yeah.
So either way, it wasn't like a 1st round pick. It wasn't like they were
They were like high on him.
Yeah, it
pretty much.
wasn't. Yeah, it's not gonna cost you that much because if you're a first round draft pick as a rookie, there's commitment there that you have to take as a team, and you didn't take that much of a risk with Will Levis. Like it didn't cost you as much. But damn, like we're gonna be missing out on the memes.
Yeah, the year of Will Levis memes was only for 2024 to 5. Yeah,
Yeah.
because those were great memes.
It started at the draft though, when you brought his girl, and then the whole drama around his girl, I guess, and then going into the season, just bad play after bad play.
It was just so funny to see this guy fail, which isn't a good thing, of course, but
Oh, definitely not. No.
it's just like a
First,
laugh
Will,
yourself, yeah.
first Joel Embiid, now Will Levis. Ivan, come
Joel
on.
Embiid deserves it. Will Levis doesn't. Will Levis does not. Because Joel Embiid, MVP. No, you're not. Will Levis isn't pushing for Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen levels of no.
Why not?
He's on the Titans. That's why.
He's on the Titans.
I don't know. Yeah, so just I don't know. Funny meme guy, but that's gone. Cam Ward from Miami had a 172 rating last year. Nothing against Will Levis. Sorry, going back real quick. It's just
Look at his
unfortunate. Just a bunch of bad things happening. It's just with ex-girlfriends. I know. Yeah, just I don't know. Cam Ward is like you said. He wants to win. Good intensity. Hopefully, Tennessee is his kind of forever home because a lot of first round picks, not just quarterbacks, but picks have just been like tossed around here and there, and nothing has really like been like solidified or like stationed. And where I draw that comparison right now in sports is the Boston Celtics have kept a lot of their first round picks some Jordan Walsh. I'm not going to sit here and say Jordan Walsh is going to pan out to be MVP, but Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Peyton Pritchard, they were all drafted by the Celtics, and they all have stayed with the Celtics, and they've won a championship. And I think that's really cool because you built that yourself. If the Titans can build something off of Cam Ward with Cam Ward, homegrown, it's going to feel a lot more rewarding if you don't trade him, if you don't move him, this is that. So
One thing I would say, like when teams like build through the draft, I think it's like refreshing.
mm-hmm.
Cause like now, especially with basketball, it's like a lot of trades and free agency moves to help teams get on top. And like when you see a team that was built through the draft, like I'd say like a OKC Thunder team, or like you said Boston Celtics, things of that nature. Like it's really like outside Boston, like we LA over here, but like
right. Nothing, not to elevate the Celtics,
right.
but they're doing a good job
But,
of keeping their
to
stars.
show respect, I guess.
Of course, absolutely.
It's dope to see that like a team is able to draft well, and build through the draft and create a championship team out of it. Going on, number 2 pick,
Mm-hmm.
Jacksonville Jaguars,
That was something else, let me tell you.
That was
which
fun.
was obviously
Browns.
the number 2 pick was the Browns initially before the draft started, and right before the draft started, I think.
Yeah.
Or Jacksonville made a trade with the Browns. Do we know the trade? What was the trade?
I don't know the entire details, but I do know is that the Browns went to 5, and they get the Jaguars' first-round pick for next year.
So this draft and next draft, they get that
Yeah.
kind of pick. Yeah. But yeah, Travis Hunter, you are right next to T-Law, Trevor Lawrence. So kind of fun to see. Supposedly he's going to be playing both sides of the ball coming into the NFL, which dangerous, but I understand why, obviously.
I feel like the only way he could get away with that is if he plays one game as a wide receiver and maybe another game, like the next game.
As a cornerback.
Yeah, depending on the matchup.
That's what I've been saying for a while now. It's like if you're playing a defensive heavy team, play offense. If you're playing an offensive heavy team, play defense, right? But that's also a lot of expectations, one for a rookie, but two on a very young guy with a very young, fresh body.
Right.
It's going to cost a toll on him 3-4 years into Jacksonville, and it's just going to kind of offset him a little bit when you're playing the best defenses on offense, or where you're playing the best offenses on defense. It's like, damn,
I know.
I got to play defense on Patrick Mahomes again. I got to play offense on, whatever.
Well, at least he's not
And then
playing
you're
on the.
doing this on a course of an 18-week season.
Yep. Yep. It's fine to start, of course, wide receiver, cornerback. It's cool. It's the flashiest thing possible. It's the Shohei Ohtani two-way player kind of
Right.
like, oh, you can pitch and you can bat. Oh, you can
Right.
catch and you can defend. Like, that's cool. That's awesome. That's so dope. But it's just a big toll on your body, more so than basketball, than baseball, than hockey. Maybe not hockey. Maybe hockey. Maybe more so than tennis. Football is the biggest toll on your body. So,
And do we think that's also gonna like cut down his like performance? Like
Yeah.
if you're playing both sides, like how much are you getting out of Travis Hunter?
Yep.
If he's like cutting, 60% wide receiver, 40% cornerback. Like if he was 100% wide receiver, you probably get a lot more out of him than him splitting both ways.
The NFL is a different beast compared to college football.
Right.
So Travis Hunter should really consider thinking about like where does he want to play overall as an NFL player. Now, a couple of shows ago, I said he should consider playing wide receiver full time, but now in his position with the Jaguars, this is a really like tough spot to be in terms of.
Because who's the number one wide receiver in Jacksonville before the draft?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. That it's
Zay Flowers?
that he has a really tough choice to make on where he wants to play, in his career. So we'll see what Travis picks.
Yeah,
you
'cause
know.
I mean, like right now, I mean, like your number one wide receiver was Zay Flowers. It'd be an easy spot to fill for the number one wideout. I don't know who they have over there at the cornerback position. But like I mean, like either way, he'd probably be the number one option on both sides, like in terms of like cornerback or wide receiver. I hope that he like doesn't kill himself doing.
both.
Yeah, like
Not to mention, like, how does that look in practice? Do you just play every play in practice on both sides of the ball all the
Yeah.
time? Like, how does that work in practice? How does that, like, how are the drills run? Like, if they need all wide receivers on one drill, and then all cornerbacks are like on the other side of the field, how does that work? How does that work?
How do you play? Yeah.
Yeah. So is it just like, do you like take a break, take a rest? Like, do you like switch off here and there? I don't. So yeah. Still,
Travis Hunter,
for me, the most exciting player in the entire draft
Right.
is Travis Hunter. Still,
and
I'm
he will
excited.
be getting watched, of course. As soon as training camp starts, they're gonna cover it, and we're gonna see what happens from there. We'll see the first preseason game, and they'll ask questions about it, of course, and we'll see how they handle it from there.
Yeah, for sure. But about the trade itself, though,
Yeah.
we'll
Talk to
see. We'll see how this draft goes down. But as of right now, the Browns fleeced them big time, especially with getting a first rounder. I mean, I know what you say that it's Travis Hunter, all this and that, but I'm not expecting the Jaguars to do much, even with Travis Hunter, if I'm being honest. Now, like I said, only time will tell on how good the Jaguars will be. At least this trade is not as bad as what the Panthers did for Bryce Young, but because it's Travis Hunter. But the only thing that would make this trade a good one is if the Jaguars play good. But if the Jaguars do bad, that first round pick will turn into a top 10 pick, and it will go to the Browns. Right. So we'll see how it goes. And speaking of the Browns, let me just say this. When this weekend is all said and done, I expect them to have the best draft of any team this year, especially with how this draft is going down so far, especially with Will Campbell not being picked yet. I expect them to pick him first in the second round, and then they have another pick. I think it's 3 picks later. They have another pick. I expect
because Will Campbell got drafted.
I mean, Will Johnson. Sorry. Well, so I expect.
I had to look. I was like, wait.
I expect the Browns to take Will Johnson. Yeah, Will Johnson.
Johnson,
Yes, now I'm getting switched with these two names. Okay. Okay, so I expect the Browns to take Will Johnson with the first pick of the second round, and then 3 picks later, I expect them to take Shador Sanders because they do need a QB. Because I'm not expecting Joe Flacco to be the long-term starter,
Right.
especially like the next few years. So this is the move that I'm expecting the Browns to make. And like I said, the Browns should have the best draft of any team. The only exception of them not drafting Shador is that they want to go running back and take Trayvon Henderson from Ohio State. But other than that, they're in a good spot right now. So Browns should be a team to look out for.
For sure. That being said, we go down to the third pick. New York drafted Abdul Carter.
That's my
Good
guy.
pick. Good pick. Solid pick. Like
Thi-
it for the
This is who I expected the Browns to take in the second overall. But the Giants, they're getting a dog that will completely turn their defense around, going from a mediocre at best defense to a good start on creating the best defense. Well, not the best defense. That's too much.
The Broncos exist.
A good defense, let's say.
A really good defense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm with you. Yeah. Okay. A good defense. A good defense.
Yeah. But yeah, they need to do a lot because the Giants, they're down bad. I mean, really, really bad.
Yeah, we'll talk about their other pick that they did.
Yeah.
A little bit
Abdul.
later.
Go ahead.
Mason Graham, Cleveland Browns.
Will Campbell.
You forgot Will Campbell from the Patriots.
Oh, Will Campbell. My bad.
Yeah.
Will Campbell. He said he'll go out there and die for Drake May.
That's what if you're New England would love to hear. Would love to see. Just a guy who really wants to play ball, who will quote unquote die for your quarterback. Yeah, that's what you want. That's really what you want. So.
When you started talking for the interview, I'm like, bro, that's a thick accent. He was like, I'm gonna go out there and do my job. I'm so thankful. I was like, all right, okay, straight from Louisiana.
I would have been so down to draft Will Campbell to the Raiders because the O-line, they need some help.
Yeah.
Especially with I've said this to you in the past that when Geno has the opportunity to throw the ball and has enough time to make a play, Geno could be big time, and that which is the reason why I wanted to draft Will Campbell.
Speaking about the Raiders, they got Ashton Genty. How do you feel about
That's
that?
6. How do you guys feel about that?
A couple of shows ago, I said this. I'm down for Ashton Genty, but I don't like him being the 6th overall pick. In order for me to be completely satisfied with this, I would have wanted to trade back, like with the Saints, and I would prefer to draft Genty 9th overall instead of 6th. The difference being with that is us getting more draft capital with that, and I don't think anyone would want Genty that high. The only
The
team,
Bears were looking.
yeah,
to
that's
draft
what I
him.
was saying because the Bears had the 10th overall pick, the Saints had the 9th overall pick. That would have been the perfect move, for the Raiders to make.
Not to mention if the Saints weren't going to draft Sanders, why wouldn't they make that trade, right? If they were thinking, we'll pass on Sanders at 9, and no other team prior to them was also going to get him. So if everyone was just going to pass on Sanders, that actually might have been a good trade for Las Vegas. I do agree. Janty, however, what I would love to don't like the Raiders. You know me.
Yeah.
Through and through. Don't like the Cowboys, like the Raiders, like the Niners. You know, one of those is in
Don't
division.
say that too loud.
Why not?
It's silver and black over here. Like,
Bro, there you
what's not
go.
to like?
There you go.
What's not like to like?
Well, okay, I also don't like the Rams because they're in division, right? Cool. Whatever. Well, I don't like a lot of teams. I don't like the Chiefs. Damn, I think I just don't like
You like the
anyone.
Chiefs?
I don't like
Get out! Get out!
Get out!
I don't like the Chiefs. God. Those episodes leading up to the Super Bowl was like anything but the Chiefs. Like, it was a very successful hate watch.
Successful.
So successful. Anyhow, I don't like the Raiders. Jeez, I don't. But, man, it's really hard to root against them when you have a guy like this. Boise State legend here is going to be a great guy to look forward to. I think Geno and him could do some damage, and that's saying a lot dangerously because you're upgrading from Garner Minshew into Geno Smith, and you have Ashton Genty to just hand the ball off to. I think it's a great look for Las Vegas. Not excited to face them, but I
You
just
play y'all this year?
I believe so.
We don't
In
know yet
Vegas.
because the schedules were supposed to go out next month, as they announced.
Really? I feel like I already seen them.
But
Really?
but I think we know the teams we're playing. We just don't know the order.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Actually, yeah, good point.
We play everybody in division, obviously, and then we play. Go ahead. I think.
I think I leading up to this draft, I was I wasn't so high on drafting a running back so high in the first round, just because like, the running back position isn't, running back position I feel like could be filled through a course of running backs back there. But if he's that guy and you believe he's that guy, then have full trust that he'll hopefully pan out. It's just one thing for the Raiders, you still got to fix that O-line. The offensive line for the Raiders is still not the best, and you don't want to hurt Genty's growth by not fixing that O-line and helping him with holes and and hopefully you fix that through this draft and through free agency. Interesting stat when I saw he got drafted and someone or like one of those like NFL's Fox put out, they said Genty is the second highest paid running back already.
What really shocks me is how big time ESPN thinks of Genty. Like, do you see they compared this man to Emmitt Smith?
Bro, as soon as he got drafted, I was like,
That's crazy work.
wow.
That's insane. Like, this was really shocking because when Saquon got drafted, now correct me if I'm wrong, but they compared Saquon when he got drafted to guys like Ezekiel Elliott and Todd Gurley, but they compared Genty to Emmitt Smith. Genty needs to do a lot in order for that to be justified.
True.
Yeah.
Like, now I'm looking forward to see what Genty does, but man, that is a big pull by ESPN to make that kind of comparison.
That's a lot to put on someone's shoulders
Yeah.
early in their career for sure.
Still a good pick, a good pickup. I mean, very reliable, very good. So
We had the New York Jets. They picked Armand. Ooh, I can't say that.
Membu.
Thank you.
Membu.
OT from Missouri. Can't say Missouri.
Missouri.
Mizzou.
Carolina Panthers. They picked up
McMillan.
McMillan.
This who's who I wanted to draft.
This was you were big on him, and then Brandon was also big on him. Big on McMillan. The people were like overlooking McMillan, this is that, and I was like,
I mean, even when he got drafted, the analysts they're like, he's a good wide receiver, but is he gonna be able to create separation in the NFL when he wasn't really able to create separation in college? So there's still like it's still like he's a good wide receiver, but there's still like he needs to improve on some things, obviously. Hopefully, of course, like anybody that gets drafted, they're not a finished product. So hopefully that he's able to improve on that. Going to the 9th pick, New Orleans Saints, Kelvin Banks Jr., OT out of Texas. This was like the first surprise pick because a lot of people were thinking, especially us when we did the mock draft, we're like, oh, Saints could pick Shedeur Sanders. And they went OT, I guess, to protect Derek Carr and Alvin Kamara. What do you think about that?
I was at work yesterday, and I was leaving work when the draft was starting. I sent out a text to the Discord, and I was like, all right, these are my top 5 picks, and I had Shedeur at like 3 or like 2 or I don't know, whatever. Point being, I had him really high. And if it wasn't then, it was 9. For sure, it was 9 to the Saints. He was going to New Orleans. That's solidified. One of my buddies, Jeff, he had a wager. He had like $300 on Shedeur falling past 10. We were watching this together. We were just had our eyes on the screen. We were like, oh, please don't call Shedeur Sanders. Please don't call Shedeur Sanders. Kelvin Banks Jr. Oh, we go crazy because Chicago ain't gonna
Right.
pull.
Right.
There's no need. Oh, we go crazy. We go, oh yeah, he just won 300. Biggest surprise I think to me in the first round is Kelvin Banks Jr. for sure. A lot of heart to this guy, as we saw from his reaction, as we saw from his family. Lots of collective energy that they're gonna make some noise in New Orleans. Good for him. Great for him. Again, like you said, to protect Derek Carr and then Kamara. So
You sure?
Yeah. So we'll see how this goes because like I said, this was really surprising. I was really surprised on the Saints not taking Shador because of how we don't know how severe Derek Carr's injury is. But we'll see how the Saints go in these next couple rounds. But I'm expecting the Saints to take a QB sooner than later. So we'll see how this goes. Now, with that being said, man, that they passed up on what's his name, Tyler Warren, the tight end from Penn State. I was really surprised that they passed up on him. I think Tyler Warren is the better tight end. Maybe the Bears know something that we don't.
Yeah, let's talk about it. So,
Lovely.
Chicago Bears, they picked Colston Loveland
Yeah,
over
Tyler Warren
Tyler Warren. Where'd Tyler Warren go?
to the Colts.
To the Colts.
on 14, that's a steal. That's a steal, dude.
So, do you think Bears picked the wrong
Tight end.
tight end?
Well, now I'm gonna say yes, but again, we don't know how these tight ends will fit in their system because we've seen players that we expect to play good and end up playing bad, and then vice versa. So it's too early to tell right now, in my opinion. So we'll see how they play together.
For sure. I wish Sai was here so she could talk about Mikael Williams, the San Francisco 49ers. They draft him out of Georgia. Cowboys draft Tyler Booker.
Oh man, that was a bad pick.
Bad pick? Talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Now, on one side, people will say that they enjoy drafting players that really want to be Cowboys, since we saw Tyler's reaction that he wanted to be a Cowboy his entire life. But at the same time, I feel like the Cowboys, they could have gotten him in the second round, honestly.
So a reach.
Yeah, pretty much.
For sure.
So not really see the vision of the Cowboys picking him this high.
Big
in the
Jerry
draft.
Jones, bro. Big Jerry Jones. What we talking about? you don't see the vision. He trying to steal the show.
I'll say this, that move ain't as bad as Nico Harrison's move. I'll tell you that much.
Okay. Look,
just-
talk about it.
Crazy that we're comparing the two. What's worse? Geez.
No.
They in the same boat.
There's no
Same boat.
there's no debate on this, bruh.
That's funny. Okay, Miami Dolphins drafted Kenneth Grant. Indianapolis Colts drafted Tyler Warren. Atlanta Falcons drafted Jalen Walker. Arizona Cardinals drafted Walter Nolan. Cincinnati Bengals drafted Shamor Stewart. And the Seattle Seahawks, with the 18th pick, drafted Gray Zabel. With the resident Seattle fan, how
Yep.
do we feel?
Really good. Really positive. Really good. Same with you guys and Genty. Zabel adds a lot. Like I said on the show, I think I would like best available, and if not, I would like an offensive tackle or an offensive lineman. The biggest problem that Seattle had last season was just the offense would just get pierced through damn near every play, and Geno had no space. He had no time. Against good teams, it was just really hard to keep up. We once played, I believe it was Green Bay in Green Bay. It was the 30-13 game. It was like a Sunday night game. Whole hyped up game. This, that. Jordan Love, Geno was going to be a good game, and the offensive line imploded almost every time. Gray absolutely adds to this. He's a great player. The only biggest complaint and the biggest concern that he has is that coming out of North Dakota State. However, still, it's college ball. It transitions as much as they can. They don't have, it's not Ohio State. It's not Alabama or Wisconsin or whatever the hell. It's not Florida. It doesn't matter. It's still, he's one of the best offensive tackles in this class. I'm feeling very confident he can protect our new man, our new few guys of Cooper Kupp and Sam Darnold, of course. A Seattle Seahawk, by the way, going back to Washington, where he grew up, where he was raised. I think that's really cool. I think that's a really cool story.
Now, about your take on this, that this was a small school, we see players before that they become big time players coming out of small schools, like Cooper Kupp, for example.
Yeah, exactly.
Max Crosby,
Yeah.
and in other sports, the NBA, Steph Curry went from not Danielson though, Davidson College. None of us know what that school was before Curry.
Exactly.
So we've seen players from small schools, they turn into superstars, and this might be a good move for the Seahawks. We'll just have to wait and see.
I think it's a good move. I think to start off the draft and to kind of lay us out, I think the Seahawks picked very effectively, very efficiently. I think it's a good move.
Okay. Buccaneers drafted Mika.
Even Roger Goodell had a tough time pronouncing his name.
He drafted the Ohio State wide receiver. Denver Broncos drafted Jaheed Barron. Bruce Kuntz was really happy about this pick.
Really? Oh, I didn't
Yeah.
text him about it or anything. But anyways.
Yeah, he posted on social media, and I was like, I don't like you Bronco fans.
Rivals, obviously.
So the 21st pick, this was the second team that was projected to maybe pick Shedeur Sanders. And I saw a lot of videos after the pick was announced. A lot of Steeler fans angry about the pick, like a Ryan Clark. He was a former Pittsburgh Steeler. A lot of fans in general were mad that Shedeur didn't go to Pittsburgh. So
Urinating Tree was mad as well.
Who?
He's a YouTuber.
Oh, okay.
but yeah, he was also mad about this pick.
I know who that is, actually. That's so funny. I know who that is.
So are we surprised that Pittsburgh didn't even consider drafting Shedeur Sanders with the 21st pick too? They
This move,
Derek Harmon.
This move says one thing, at least for me. Do Steelers actually know that Aaron Rodgers will be will sign with the Steelers in the coming days?
That's what they're banking on, basically.
Yeah, because that's the only legitimate reason for the Steelers not to draft Shedeur is if they know Aaron Rodgers is coming. And at first, I was surprised that they didn't get Shedeur, but at the same time, it's like the Steelers know what's going on, and they don't want the media to know about this. So
even if Aaron Rodgers did side with Pittsburgh, why wouldn't you still want to draft the future?
Thank you. That's exactly what I was going to bring up. Like, you're going to choose Aaron Rodgers over Shedeur Sanders?
That's one thing to say, but at the same time, man, a lot of questions need to be answered over there in Pittsburgh.
I wonder what Shedeur was doing, like, to the teams. Like,
everyone was like, what was he doing in those draft interviews to make these teams not want to mess with him?
Not want him at all. Like, Pittsburgh, if you have like Shedeur or DK, it's a good little new look. In Pittsburgh.
And it brings back excitement. Right? Because you already have a good defense.
Yes, one of the best.
Pittsburgh still has never lacked a good defense.
Never dipped. One of the best, always.
It's always been their offense. And if you would have added DK in in a trade, and you've asked Shedeur and he pans out, you will be contending for the division. Mm-hmm. And then you'll be adding, then you'll be like the third team at minimum in terms of like quarterback-wise. And, we've seen 3 teams make the playoffs in a division. It's not impossible. Like, we've seen it over the past couple years when they added a third wild card spot. So it's like you don't even want to take a shot. You don't even want to, plan for the future. It doesn't seem like you're planning for the future at least offensively. Because, I mean, you did draft a DT, and he's going to be, like, the next coming after Cameron Hayward. So, like, but, you know, offense, right? Like, offense is the biggest component in sports now. So, why not pull that trigger? Los Angeles Chargers, they drafted Omarion Hampton, running back, out of North Carolina. Oh, dang. The Broncos didn't select a running back.
The Broncos?
Yeah, because, you know, Bruce wanted them to draft a running back.
Right. Yeah.
And, and Hampton was up there.
Bruce wanted Hampton, and they didn't choose him. Funny enough, yeah.
Trayvon Henderson
somebody
is
he
his
wanted.
last hope, but I feel I have a slight feeling that someone's gonna pick him up in the first 5 picks of the second round.
Sure. Green Bay finally drafted another wide receiver in the first round, Matthew Golden.
For the
Out of
first
Texas.
time since 2002, I was exactly 2 months old. The last time the Packers drafted a receiver in the first round. Why are you laughing?
Nah, because
I was
he tweeted that exact same thing, bro.
Enrique?
Yes. He's like, I was exactly 2 months old when Green Bay drafted their first round wide receiver.
That's so funny, Enrique.
To,
Oh, man.
to not skip over anybody, Minnesota Vikings, Donovan Jackson, offensive guard out of Ohio State. But the 25th pick, did New York Giants trade up for this?
Yes, they did.
Or they had to
Trading up for Jackson Dart is just diabolical, bro.
Because he was projected to be a second-round pick, right?
Yeah.
So, do we believe that Jackson Dart over
There's
Shedeur
no
Sanders?
way.
Do we believe
The Giants are insane for
believing in
this.
the Jackson Dart hype?
Now we know why they're called the New York Giants. They make giant mistakes, and they made a giant mistake right here.
2 years in a row.
Like, Jackson Dart over Shador? Are you serious, bro?
Yeah, I don't agree with that. It's their decision at the end of the day, obviously, but he's a great player. Not discrediting Jackson Dart, but you're taking him over Shador Sanders. I don't know. Maybe they think he's overrated, Shador. Maybe teams think that Shador is overrated or something. They're not giving him a chance. They're not giving him a shot. Like, I don't know what's going on. Because when they said when they called up Jackson Dart,
Right.
I go, what the
Like
hell?
a head scratcher.
Over, again, a team that kind of needs a quarterback that kind of would,
Right.
would like to benefit from that. You got the other best quarterback. You got the second best option.
Right.
It's like, damn.
Well, hey, former USC Trojan. Wish him the best over there in New Jersey. It's not New York. But,
So
Yeah,
Atlanta
but he
Hawks traded back in too in the first round. Got James Pierce Jr.
I feel so bad for Kaylee and for Sergio. They waited 2 hours for the draft pick just for them to trade it back. I mean, the only bright of the whole thing is they get a first rounder in return for next year. They better pray that the Falcons play bad next year.
Which is funny because as soon as, I think it was Sergio that was telling me this, Sergio or Kaylee that was telling me this, it was like as soon as they drafted Jackson Dart, they swapped their pick because they wanted Shador, because the Rams wanted Shador, and I go, so
Yeah,
he's-
even I was asking that in the Discord. What if the Rams get Shador? Because Stafford's aging. They need a QB to replace Stafford. Shador is that guy. He would be all set.
not only that, but your third string under Jimmy G. Really? Like, what a waste, in my opinion. But
So, moving on to the biggest question, of course, in this draft, going into the draft, outside of Travis Hunter was Shedeur Sanders and the Sanders family, basically, and where he will go in the draft. And as the night started, it felt like, at least, you know, from the media's perspective, people were putting out there like, oh, this is why he might fall, this and that and the other. But no one did. Anyone necessarily think he was gonna fall out the first round?
That it was insane, bro. That kind of reminds me of Will Levis. We expected him to be like a top 5 pick. Everyone's saying that it's the Raiders that are gonna draft Will Levis I think it was number 4 overall. Correct me if I'm wrong. But and it turned out to be a second rounder. Like it's insane, how these QBs fall down in the draft like this.
And it's like, it's another situation. It like this happens a lot where it's like, it's not it's not his play that's the reason he's dropping. I don't think it's his play.
It's his
me
mindset?
speculating.
It's his
This is
mindset.
not just his. I don't think his mindset is the issue. I think it's his. It's the teams perceive him as too arrogant and too cocky. That's my perception, and that's why they're not drafting him. They're like, oh, he's Dion's son, and they probably see him as entitled and this and that and the other, and we're not gonna draft him because he probably thinks everything's gonna be given to him. That's why I think that he didn't get drafted in the first round.
Well, I feel like in the NFL he'll be humbled because he'll understand that he's not gonna have his dad around once he goes to the NFL.
Right.
So and that's what the coaches and the vets in NFL teams, that they're gonna let him know that this is not gonna be like in college. This is a whole new beast that you're gonna be dealing with in the NFL. And there will be teams wherever Shedeur goes, that's what they're gonna tell him. And I know that'll happen because Shedeur, he will not be the golden goose that he was in Colorado for much longer.
By the way, in Colorado, he had a 13-12 record. By the way, anyhow, which is very telling of like, really, like we thought they were much better. Which, in the games that they needed to play good, they did. Anyhow, I fear that whatever team Shedeur goes to, because I don't think he's going to go undrafted. I think that's damn near impossible.
No.
That's impossible.
That would be crazy.
There's no way.
That would be diabolical.
Whatever team Shedeur goes to, going back to your point, will probably play number 2. He'll probably be like, hey, daddy's not around. The team that drafts him, like, hey, daddy's not around. This is going to be a lot of tough work, and you're going to need to put in the work to show that you're number 1. Because he's in the second round of the draft now, it's just diabolical to me that, like, you fell to the second round. Top, 3, 4, 5 projected pick?
Mm-hmm.
Easily. Up there with Abdul and Travis. You're in the second round now. What was he doing that was pissing off the GMs or the coaching staffs or whatever the case may be during the draft day, during the combine? Of course, other than not playing, that just didn't sit well with them. I don't know. From what we've seen from all of his time in Colorado, he's not a terrible player. He's not, he's not the second coming of Tom Brady or Joe Montana, Dan Marino. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying he's not a terrible player. He's not a second round quarterback. It's a little disheartening. Like, damn, is he not going to pan out? Do people does every team except for the Rams think that he's a bust?
Like, it can't be that way because it's like those same 32 teams that passed on him, one of those 32 teams in the second round going to be like, yeah, we'll get him now.
No,
Why didn't you get him in the first round? Right?
Maybe you want to dodge, the money you give him. I don't know. Like, maybe contract-wise.
Yeah.
Now, like
That's one thing, at least now, like, if you draft him in the second round, you're not paying him as much as you draft him in the first round.
Now, like I said, I'm expecting Shedeur to get drafted like really quickly in the second round, whether that be by the Browns or the Raiders. Honestly, one of those teams for sure is gonna take Shedeur. I would be really surprised if those two teams don't get him.
Yeah, he's definitely going early in the second round for sure. I believe so. But I also think the situation, it deals with perception, like perception, like a lot of, especially if you're not a lock for a first round, especially if you're not a lock for a first round, first pick draft, or first pick in the NFL draft. I think perception matters like a lot, because you look at Caleb Williams, and like Caleb Williams going into the draft had the same issue in terms of his perception, because he came out and he said, I'm only working out for one team, which was the Chicago Bears, and I'm only going to give out my my physical to one team, this and that and the other. And everyone, got mad at that and this and that and the other. But it's different because he was a lock, right? He's a Heisman Trophy
Yeah,
winner.
everyone knew he was going
And
number one.
everyone knew he was going number one. So it wasn't like if he gave things out or he didn't give things out to other teams, it wasn't going to change.
Yeah.
But with Shador, it was like still up in the air where he would go, right? He wasn't a lock for the number one pick. He wasn't a lock for, top 5 pick, I guess. Like, he was projected to be. But, his perception, of, I guess, the way people perceive him and the way people perceive his family really affected how people see him, man. Like, I think that sucks because, like all these guys, like, he works hard enough to be a first-round draft pick. And he has the talent to show that he's a first-round draft pick. And I definitely, in my opinion, of course, I don't think he got drafted first round because he wasn't talented enough. I think it's just the way the teams perceive him and his mindset or the way he moves and goes about things is why I don't think he got drafted first round.
Unfortunate. It's just unfortunate. Yeah, I have to agree with you. It's about perception, public perception. I think you're right. Going back to the whole Caleb comparison you had, it's a fair comparison. I think so. Just one team was kind of like not starstruck, but like hell-bent, I should say. Hell-bent on the, I was about to say the Chicago Bears, excuse me. But yeah,
Same family.
Same ordeal. Cubs, Bears, same family. Do you think that was intentional when they were like, "Hey, what's your name of our football team? The Bears. What's our baseball team? The Cubs."
Low key.
You think that was intentional? Like,
I don't think they would overthink it.
yeah. Bears, Cubs. All right, cool.
Yeah. So do we think he's going to Cleveland?
It's either Cleveland or Vegas. It's gonna be one of those two teams. But I'm actually expecting. Yeah, I'm expecting them to take, or Cleveland to take him. Now, like I said before earlier in the show, I'm expecting them to take Will Johnson in the first pick of the second round, and then them going Will Campbell with. Why do I keep on saying Will Campbell? Then I expect them to take Shador, number 36 overall.
I don't think like if he went to Cleveland right now, I don't think that would be a bad spot either.
You don't think so?
I think Cleveland got a good defense. You got Nick Chubb back there, good offensive line, good head coach. The only questionable part might be the weapons you have, but I think if he goes to Cleveland, and he pans out to be the star that people think he is, I think I definitely could see Cleveland making a win now push. Maybe, getting into the playoffs. Like, I don't think Cleveland is a bad team. Like, they have a lot of, like, quarterback issues. You know what I mean? So, with Deshaun Watson and having to pay him. And, Joe Flacco's there, and I think Joe Flacco's a quality player, I think. Especially, like, Joe Flacco's there, right?
Yeah, he is.
So, I don't think, especially over the past couple years, Joe Flacco has came in a backup role and played very well. So, if he's able to sustain that and then maybe Shador throughout the year overtakes him for that starting spot, I think Cleveland could make a win-now push. Not saying they're going to be Super Bowl ready, but, make a playoff push, I guess.
What do you think is the best pick for the Browns? Because I'm expecting the Browns to take Will Johnson with the first pick of the second round, but with their 36th overall pick, which is the fourth pick of the second round, is a better pick Trayvon Henderson or Shador Sanders, in your opinion? Because I feel like it's going to be one of those two players that the Browns are going to go and get.
Is that the one that got traded from Jacksonville?
No, I may have said his name wrong, but it's the running back from Ohio State that I feel like the Browns that they're going to try and get.
I'm sorry, I meant the pick. So pick 4, round 2. Was that traded from Jacksonville and the Browns?
I think it was. I think
Yeah.
it was.
Okay.
It depends on how they see Nick Chubb. Like, if they still believe in Nick Chubb, I think they still believe in Nick Chubb. So, I think, if you don't believe that Nick Chubb would stay healthy, or you don't think he's gonna come back as the same player as he was, then I could see you picking a running back. But I think the best long-term solution for the Browns would get the quarterback of the future.
Yeah.
Because Deshaun Watson ain't panning out.
Yeah.
No. I mean, anything could happen. Maybe they could pull a Lions, have Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. It worked out for them.
Yeah, it did.
And so maybe it'll work out for the Browns. You never know, but we'll see.
Right. Another quarterback that didn't get drafted, but we kind of saw writing on the wall throughout the college year playing out and this draft cycle play out, was Jalen Milroe.
Yeah.
Do we think Jalen Milroe goes in the second round? Do you think he falls to the third round? How do you feel about Jalen Milroe?
Either late second or early third, I feel like. Now I don't know who will be that. I don't know who will need a quarterback. The only two teams I feel like that could go for Jalen Milroe is the Steelers or the Rams. One of those two teams, but maybe the Browns, maybe the Raiders as well. Like if they don't go Shador Sanders, there are teams out there that could get a QB in Jalen Milroe as well. But it'll all depend on where does Shador go, and if wherever Shador goes, other teams that didn't get him, they're gonna try and probably get a Milroe as well.
We were talking with Brandon about this, and it's like it's very weird why Jalen Milroe was very talked about, very hyped, very like super. Everyone was adamant. Oh, first round, first few picks, this, that, and he's dropped significantly. We still don't know why. It has to be something to do behind the scenes. There's no way that it's not. I don't know if he goes to the third, but like Enrique said, Pittsburgh, L.A., question mark. Like, is that what takes, or is that what it takes to get into the NFL when you were once a very highly valued prospect? Jeez, that was a weird sentence in my head.
Yeah.
I always try to think of like the sentence I'm about to say before I say it, and that was like a really hard one. Anyhow, but yeah, it's interesting, a very, very interesting situation here with Jalen. Hopefully, all the best. Of course, he goes to a good place and such, and yeah, we'll see how that goes. I don't think he goes before Shador though, right?
No, definitely not.
Probably not.
Anyhow,
Fair.
We've seen a lot of QBs in the past that were expected to go number one overall. I already mentioned Will Levis, but another QB that I had in mind that we expected him to be high in the draft, but ended up to be a fourth round pick. Like Spencer Rattler, he was expected to be big time in the NFL, and when he went to the Saints, he had a really bad mindset. He played really bad, and it was understandable on why teams didn't want Rattler that high in the draft.
Yeah, he was highly touted to be a first rounder when he was playing with Oklahoma, and he was having that like one good year, and then the next year in Oklahoma was where like he was struggling. And then Caleb Williams came in and overtook him. And then he went to South Carolina. It was, he played better. But by the time he went to South Carolina, his stock was already low. And people knew then it was like, all right, it's probably going to be a third round draft pick and this and that. But yeah, there was a point where, Rattler was in Heisman talks, believe it or not. So, it's crazy how like easy your stocks could drop as a draft pick, especially at the quarterback position. Only 32 players could be a starting quarterback.
exactly.
So, that's probably that's the hardest spot to be in outside of being a cornerback maybe, or might depending on how you see it. So, the business world of sports entertainment, I guess. So,
Interesting.
That being said,
But yeah, still, I'm happy for the first round. I'm excited for the first round. Again, like I said, like I've been saying about this draft class, it's just a very exciting draft class. Can't wait to see what these guys do.
Do the Seahawks have a second round pick?
And we have like 2 back to back. We have like 1, and then it's like the Steelers, like the Broncos or something. I don't know. And then we have another one right back again. So we pick kind of back to back.
Who do you hope the Seahawks get in the second round?
Best available or more offensive linemen? More. I just need defense for my offense, basically. I just need blocking. That's all I need. Or just best available is cool as well.
Something the Seahawks lacked last year.
Exactly. Which, if we're revamping with Cooper, if we're revamping with
Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold, thank you. I was like, what's his name? Sam Darnold, and of course, you still have Witherspoon on the defense, and you still have maybe some more defense. But I guess that's like best available if it's like a defensive tackle or like a defensive lineman or whatever the case may be. That'd be cool as well. So
The Raiders have the 37th overall pick. If they can't get Shador, I would hope they go O-line for the 37th overall pick. If not O-line, hopefully they'll try and improve their defense in ways. So hopefully they'll have a good pick there. Hopefully it's not a reach.
That's the biggest issue, especially in the Raider fan base. Is like, man, please don't reach on players when we don't have to.
not like the Cowboys. Cowboys just reached. So.
Tyler Booker.
That being said, this is another episode going for 2. Next time we see you guys will be Monday, and we'll talk about the rest of the draft, things what happened and where players went. It's your host Matty Ice. I have Ivan, Enrique. Thank you guys for joining, and we guys see you Monday nights.
Peace
out.
Peace.